Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. A commoner is given one chance to survive. He tries to fight for his life, but he is just mocked for using his pitiful magic. In this world, lineage, talent, and diligence are the most important things to be a mage. Unfortunately for our protagonist, no amount of diligence can make up for a lack of talent. The guy in charge tells him that magic will never smile upon him, and he uses real magic to eliminate the poor guy. As his body gets roasted, our protagonist loves magic so much that he calls the spell used to end his life magnificent. He admires the magic that can be used by a noble, and he calls it beautiful. His one wish would be to have learned more about magic, even if he couldn't use it effectively. The poor magic lover dies, but wakes up soon after. He finds that he is surrounded by giants, and tries to defend himself with the fireball, but his hands are tiny. Surprisingly, his fireball attack works. Outside, a huge celebration is held, as it is announced that the Salem Kingdom's 7th prince has been born. Our protagonist has been reborn as Prince Lloyd, and everyone is in shock when they see how much damage the little baby's fireball did. Years later, Floyd has grown up a bit, and he hides from his maids. He is asked to go on a raid, but our boy is too busy trying to escape from these maids. The knights decide to just let him be, since unfortunately for Lloyd, he is much younger than his brothers, so that puts him out of contention for the crown. One of the knights doesn't think that gaining the kid's favor would be worth the effort, but the other knight explains just how wrong he is. Floyd is amazing since he could speak shortly after birth. He was reading spell books instead of picture books. Also, like a true gentleman, Lloyd refused to drink milk from the source. Most importantly though, this guy thinks that Lloyd might be the reincarnation of the great mage known as William Bardot. William is known as the father of sorcery, so this just sounds ridiculous. Lloyd confirms that he was reborn, but he was actually just a commoner in his past life. He has no clue why he was reborn, or why he was so lucky to become a privileged 7th son of a royal family. Floyd doesn't actually care about standing or glory, and he's just following the same philosophy he had in his past life. Finding out how much awesome magic can be discovered in the world is all Floyd cares about. His new life comes with a huge library for the little nerd to enjoy, but Sylpha the maid stops him. The two immediately start sparring, but Lloyd doubts that he needs to learn the way of the sword because he has no shot at the throne anyway. Sylpha is quick to point out that there is more to life than royal succession. She was put in charge of Lloyd's education 3 years ago, and it has become her life purpose to teach Lloyd everything he needs to know, and that includes sword fighting. Lloyd realizes that the practice won't end unless he puts on a good showing, so Floyd attacks with more force. Sylpha is pleased to see that he's getting stronger every day, but Lloyd thinks about how she always holds back. Floyd is a magical genius, as he reveals to us that he's using control type magic to trace all of Sylpha's moves. From her point of view, she's pretty much just fighting a mirror image of herself. The mischievous little nerd thinks about how he's really just cheating, so he can go back to reading. The two continue fighting for now, and Lloyd acknowledges that Sylpha has him beat in strength, stamina, and height. He is able to copy her techniques with magic, but those other things put him at a disadvantage, and usually he loses. Lloyd decides that this is the perfect time to use today's experiment. He will use the difference in their physical abilities and cheat just enough to compensate. Lloyd uses a physical enhancement and levitation spell on himself. The difference is noticeable, and Lloyd uses a combination of physical attacks and magic to fight more evenly now. The fighting intensifies, but Lloyd is a pretty confident kid. He has been fighting Sylpha as her mirror image perfectly, so he is sure that he can win if he makes one different move. Floyd releases his trace spell and surprises Sylpha with an unexpected move. He apologizes for having to end the fight, but thinks about how he has to get back to reading. Surprisingly, Sylpha blocks the attack, and what's even more shocking is that she knows he was cheating. She wipes the kid out and points out that the difference in his reach was too noticeable. He used levitation to make up for their difference in height, and he even grew his wooden sword. Her anger turns into admiration, and she is astounded to see that he could use 2 spells at once, as even the court's magicians find that to be really difficult. In reality, Lloyd was using 4 spells, as he thinks about how she didn't notice the physical enhancement and control magic. Her brain would probably explode if she found out that he could use 4 spells at once, so he decides to keep that a secret. Afterwards, Lloyd is forced to take a bath, even though all he wants to do is read. The maids warn him about spending too much time in the library because the Forbidden Library's demon will appear to eat him alive. A long time ago, Salem was nearly destroyed. After the sacrifice of countless mages, the demon behind the attack was sealed away in a book, and its name is Grimoire. Sylpha is sure that Lloyd wouldn't be afraid of something like that, but he is trembling in fear. The girls argue about who will get to sleep with the scared kid, but Lloyd uses this opportunity to get away. It turns out that Lloyd isn't afraid of the demon, he is just excited to find this forbidden library that's somewhere in the castle's basement. That night, Lloyd uses wind magic to reflect the light around him, and he makes himself invisible. One guard tells the other to stay on his toes, since there is magic in the forbidden library that could shake the entire kingdom, not to mention that the sealed demon is also inside. This all sounds perfect to our adventurous protagonist, so he makes his way into the basement. The dumb guards are sure that no one can get past them, but even if someone did, 10 mages cast their most powerful magic sealing spells on the entrance to create an unbreakable barrier. This is nothing for our boy though, so he easily breaks the barrier and is amazed by the forbidden library. Lloyd takes a peek at some of the books, but Grimoire reveals himself almost immediately. Lloyd introduces himself, so Grimoire wonders if the kid could be nice and break the seal. The seal has degraded over the years, so it's only a matter of time before it breaks anyway. Grimoire offers to give him endless amounts of gold, but he is shocked when Lloyd is able to tell that he was just using poor imitation magic. Grimoire is shocked by the kid's composure, as Lloyd explains that this kingdom is where he studies magic, so he can't let some dangerous demon destroy it. Grimoire points out that he doesn't hold any grudges to the people in this day and age, but Lloyd doesn't believe him. Grimoire makes another attempt to convince Lloyd and offers to teach him some ancient magic, stuff that's been lost for hundreds of years. Grimoire is really speaking Lloyd's language now, as the kid gets really interested. Grimoire can tell that Lloyd has a lot of talent, and this makes Lloyd remember how he was told that magic would never smile upon him. Lloyd declares that he now has a more privileged body than a commoner, but Grimoire just wonders who talks this way about themselves. Lloyd lifts the seal and prepares to learn some ancient magic. The devious Grimoire just attacks him with an insanely powerful spell, and he wonders if this is enough of a lesson for Lloyd. With Lloyd eliminated, Grimoire wonders what his next move should be, but he is shocked when he realizes that Lloyd is still alive. He isn't just alive though. Lloyd is amazed by the unique attack, and he hopes that Grimoire can show him some more. Grimoire attacks furiously, but nothing he does can break the barrier. Grimoire is losing his mind to anger, but our boy Lloyd is super calm, and he uses his barrier to analyze all of Grimoire's attacks. This kid just can't help himself, as he wants to feel the attack, even at the risk of dying again. Grimoire is then absolutely stunned when Lloyd allows the magic to surround his finger. It's incredibly painful, but the magic-obsessed Lloyd can still admire its beauty. Lloyd asks for more, so the enraged Grimoire uses some time to summon an even more powerful spell. Synchronizing 2 incantations for a spell at once is generally impossible, and it's a special type of casting, only usable by a demon capable of having 2 mouths. Grimoire is screaming his brains out to unleash the most powerful attack he can muster, but our boy Lloyd is just analyzing the attack. Grimoire is shocked when his most powerful magic couldn't even scratch the barrier, and Lloyd admires how much effort it must have taken to get so powerful. Grimoire decides to run away from this crazy kid, but he's stunned to see that Lloyd put up another barrier. Grimoire assumes that he created it to keep him from running, but Lloyd reveals that he made a mistake a long time ago, so he made sure to be more cautious about everything moving forward. Grimoire prepares to attack again, but Lloyd is done analyzing his attacks. Lloyd powers up a powerful spell of his own, and demands that Grimoire show him what he can do on defense. Lloyd unleashes a massive fire attack, and Grimoire wonders where all this mana is coming from. It's too late though, as Lloyd's attack absolutely fries the demon. Lloyd points out that he didn't block the attack, but the demon just wonders who this crazy powerful kid is. Grimoire then bears witness as Lloyd restores the entire room after it had been blown to bits. Grimoire has never met such an amazing mage before, so he has started calling the kid Master Lloyd. Lloyd is amazed that Grimoire survived his attack, and this just makes a little psychopath curious about how much Grimoire will be able to survive. Grimoire doesn't want to feel the endless pain he would go through while Lloyd tests him, so he pledges himself to the kid. He offers to serve as his familiar, so Lloyd agrees. To not be found out, Grimoire transforms into the cutest animal he can, but he thinks about what he's really doing. He's using this cute exterior in the hopes that Lloyd will eventually let his guard down so he can get the drop on him. Lloyd tells the demon to get in his pocket, but Grimoire thinks about how that's a foolish decision. It works for him though, since if he gets that close to Lloyd, Grimoire is sure that he'll be able to control his mind and take over his body. Grimoire hops on, but he is stunned when he feels Lloyd's mana. Grimoire can't understand how it can be so dense, and he realizes that he won't be able to control a single finger on this monster. Grimoire doesn't think Lloyd is human, and he trembles in fear. Lloyd wonders if he's just cold, and Grimoire completely changes his tune to tell Lloyd that he can just call him Grim. Grimoire decides to be obedient for the time being, and Lloyd happily runs off to start doing some reading. Thanks for watching my recap. Subscribe to my free newsletter if you want to show some support to the channel. Link is in the description.